Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which as always, is for writers like you and me who use and write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe, because there is so much to talk about. And the way that we are going to talk about these things today is like this, right here on YouTube. You and me getting it done. But I know this has happened to you. You don't need to talk one-to-one, you need to talk with several people about something. I mean, maybe you're organising a writing group. Maybe you just need 6 people in the family to get on Zoom so we can sort this out. And this has happened to me. At times, I've run writer mentoring sessions, one-on-one chats, Zoom, in person, on the phone, all that stuff. It was always a problem, though, arranging the sessions. Invariably, I'd be asked for one and we'd get into the tennis match. Is Tuesday okay? No, how about 2 weeks on Thursday? And that's the day before we even get into the time. Oh, actually, that's all. By the way, side thought, nothing to do with Macs and iPhones, and this is just true for everybody. If you ever want a meeting with someone, be as specific as you can when you ask. Say, can we meet at 11 a.m. on Wednesday the 3rd? Because it's astounding how often they just say yes. And when they don't say yes, they typically say something like, no, but how's Friday the 5th at 4 p.m? And I don't care what I have to do, move mountains, it doesn't matter, I'm taking that 4 p.m. So if I say yes, and we're done. But back to iPhones and Macs and things. These are the devices, we spend a lot of money on them. And specifically because something new has come out this week as this first goes out, I want to show you how you can make these devices do the heavy lifting of this arranging of complicated meetings or of getting yourself booked. So I have, call it 3 ways for you of doing it. Well, one's so short, one's good, but then there's the real one, the real reason I'm talking today. Let's do the short one, get that out of the way. If you happen to be a writer who works in a corporation and the meeting you want to do is solely with other people who are in that same corporation, the odds are you're sorted. Actually, your IT department there may need to set this up, and I do know of one corporation where it was set up, it was enabled. Yeah, that was news to the staff. No one had told them. In the right circumstances, then you can tell Microsoft Outlook that you need an hour with these 6 people, and Outlook will put a meeting in their calendar and yours. It will find the first day and time when all 7 of you are available for an hour. It will do that automatically. It will do it very quickly. It's very impressive when it works. And it's totally no use to me. Even when I did work in corporations, I was a freelance writer working for them and for other firms at the same time. And if I needed a meeting, it would be across companies, it would be with other writers, most of whom tended to work for themselves. So instead of us all having Outlook and corporate IT departments, I got to have much more experience with Doodle.com. This can be used by anyone, I mean actually corporations included, really. But for most of what you and I tend to need as writers, it's simple, and it's free. I just told you that I had experience using Doodle.com, but apparently it was quite a while ago. I mean, everything pre-COVID was a while ago. Because I've been to it today to check, so I remembered how to do things so that I could show you the way through. And Doodle has changed for good and bad. The good is that there are now more features than I knew for us. The bad is the Doodle website is replete with ads. Now, I can't object to ads, not when you and I talk to a YouTube channel, but this one has so many, and they come in, they're loaded, you'll be typing, and midway through a word, you can't see you're typing anymore, because now just push it off the screen or to the side. It's just, you understand why they do it. It's a free service. Of course, they've got to survive on money, but it's exasperating, and enough so that I'm actually glad that you and I are going to end today with a better solution. Anyway, Doodle.com is free for what we tend to need, for the number of meetings and the size of them and the features. So we press on. Click or tap the plus create button, choose group poll. There's something off about that name to me. Group poll sounds like you're going to ask all your friends what the best album of 2021 or which of the following is your favourite kitten or something. What you're doing is really, you're getting ready to offer everyone a choice of when you can all get together. Click group poll, then fill out the details of this meeting or what this nattering is all about. I'm picking Zoom here, but that's practically out of habit. It can be anything. When I used to use Doodle a lot, it was when I was regional representative of the Writers Guild here in the Midlands in the UK, and it's how I'd schedule our in-person committee meetings. Still, Zoom for now. Click continue. I don't happen to want to connect my personal calendar to a company's database, just as I don't want to connect my contacts address book so that they can help me by suggesting who to meet. So click their optimistic later button and now start adding possible meeting dates. I can't decide if I like this or not though. Doodle seems to now require you to find the day in its on-screen month calendar, week calendar, whatever it is, and then click to find a possible meeting, then move somewhere else and click for. I'd rather just type Wednesday at 7 p.m. Actually, I'd like it if I could type every Wednesday at 7 p.m. But anyway, find a day and time, click, drag a bit if you've missed, find another date. I'm adding 3 possible dates here, but I don't believe there's any limit beyond your patience and the patience of your invitees. Click continue. Now I do like this. Doodle offers you some useful options. It also tries to sell you on others, like setting a deadline for people to respond to you. Since you and I know what writers are like, other writers, not you and me. No. Since we know what other writers are like, you can see why a deadline could be useful. But I look at it this way. Tough. As long as enough people respond that the meeting is quorate, if it has to be, or just enough that we can get things done, I don't care. And actually, I also don't care about any of the other options on the screen, free or not. And yeah, all right, maybe I'm just laid back, I don't know. But whatever the reason, let's click finish. So now you've set the possible dates, the possible times. You just need to invite people. Invariably, I copy this link at the top and then I paste that into another email I'm sending to someone, or I post it over Slack or Messages or WhatsApp or whatever. But you can email directly from Doodle. Since you are presumably coming to your own meeting, you now get prompted by Doodle to say when you want to come. And this is the same screen that all of your invitees get. They get your email or they get their link, your link room, and they click and they're brought through to doodle.com on a page like this. Tick the dates you can do, which presumably is all of them, because you pick the dates. And then over time, your invitees do all the same thing, and you come in and you look to see which has the most ticks. That'll do me. That's your time. Close the poll, tell everyone when it is, and commiserate with whoever can't make it. So, good things about doodle.com. I think the main good thing is that this exists at all, that it does this at all. Rather than my emailing 7 people and all of them chiming back with different days and different times, I do this once in Doodle and then let them all pick it, and I just choose whichever looks like the best result in the end. Then I do think it's also good that it's free, of course. I mean, I have no problem at all paying with something that's worth my paying for. And our third and last option today, the reason we're doing this today, is a paid one. But I'm also fine with using something free if it genuinely does what I need. Also good about doodle.com, as well as all the ads, there are now more features. I haven't used them, but you, for example, you can now create a booking page. And I presume this means that you can say you're available for an hour every Tuesday morning, and you can let people book a slot with you then. But I say presume not because I couldn't be bothered to check it out, but because Doodle requires you to be using an Exchange email service like Outlook or Google Calendar to be able to do this. I might hesitate again over allowing a third-party site to access my calendar, but I don't have to hesitate. I don't have to think about it because I don't use either Outlook or Google Calendar. I use Apple's iCloud one, and I'm not planning to move. Still, if it works for you, you can do that, and it's great that it's a feature. And one more thing about doodle.com that's good. It's simple to use. It's more complicated than I remember, but chiefly because of the ads being thrown at your head. And you can remove those ads by paying $6.95 a month, although actually it's really $83.40 because you've got to pay a year at a time. But that payment gets rid of ads. It also more options to integrate Doodle into your work, into your calendar, and actually some various automation systems, which is a pretty good thing if it's worth it to you. I pay $3.33 per month to Flexibits to use their calendar app, Fantastical, and actually also their address book card app, which I don't use enough, but is excellent when I do, and it's included in the price. I originally bought Fantastical back in the day when it wasn't subscription. It was a quite expensive app compared to other calendars, especially Apple's free one. And I wasn't sure about taking up a subscription, and actually I've continued to not be sure, not quite sure. $3.33 a month isn't much, and I do use my calendar an awful lot. But a key reason I subscribed, for example, was that I do so very many Zoom meetings, just like you do. And when you subscribe to Fantastical, you can create a Zoom call right there in Fantastical. You don't have to add the meeting date to your calendar and then go to zoom.com and set it up there as well. But it turns out that Zoom believes you and I only have one computer and one phone. So when I got my MacBook Pro and I was now working across 2 Macs, Fantastical was ceaselessly complaining that I had to re-log in to Zoom. The solution was to unlink Zoom on one of the Macs and live with it. Zoom should do better, but Fantastical should say what's going on. I mean, it takes me quite a lot to go to a support team, but it was only when I finally did that I found out the reason for this barrage of error messages. Still, I kept using Fantastical, I kept mostly liking it a lot, and then this week there came the update that has decided me. I am sticking with Fantastical and its subscription, no more hesitation, because of this. Fantastical scheduling with openings and proposals and the new quarter view. Fantastical, like everything, it's always showing you your calendar by day, week, month and year, and I never use anything but month really, or I never used to anyway. Now it also has quarter, and it's so handy. You wonder, why wasn't it always there? Why isn't it in every app? And it's so handy that I will use it. In fact, I'd like it to use it all the time, but it does fit more onto the screen than a month view does. Of course it does. But I mean, depending on the size of your screen and the size you keep the Fantastical window, that can mean that going to quarter loses something visual. Look at this. Instead of a color band for an event, showing an event that goes over several days, each day can change to saying one more. It can. Fine. But it's less handy, so I'll probably stick in month. Much more handy, definitely using this, proposals. And this is Doodle.com done better. Funny thing is, I knew it was. I read the description, I learned it, I talked with the developer, I thought this is Doodle.com done better, but then I used Doodle to check it out, to tell you how it was now. And all those slap-facing ad things, it just, Fantastical proposals are infinitely better than Doodle.com. Let me show you. Open Fantastical on Mac, iPhone, iPad, anything you like. Click to start entering a new event. By the way, this has always been a killer feature in Fantastical. It is supremely good at letting you type things like lunch with Rachel 2 weeks from Tuesday, and it understands. But for now, we'll just pop in a meeting and start filling out details. 58 Keys episodes. They first go out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. UK time, so let's do that. In fact, actually, let's click this down arrow for more options. No, I won't show you how to make this a Zoom meeting complete with link, because there's no option there for it, because you can only do it with one Mac and one phone. And as it happens, this is a screen recording from my other Mac. That is very disappointing, very frustrating. On my other Mac, my Office Mac, where I tend to do most of this calendar work, I would click for the down arrow for more, and one of the options is just a simple tick box saying, yeah, this is a Zoom meeting. Tick that, everything gets set up for you. Anyway, now click propose another time, and you get exactly the same date and time picker. So enter a new date and time. Click propose another time, do the same, and change your mind, by the way, make edits, whatever you need. Here we've got 3 things, and just like with any other event with just one time, you can now add invitees. When we're done, they get automatically emailed an invitation. And you can tick here to make a link that you can do what I do, paste it to emails or Slack or messages or WhatsApp, put it on Twitter if you're mad. Notice as I tick that though, an option changes below. Add event changes from when replies are unanimous to manually. So if I'm only adding invitees here in Fantastical, I mean, I'm not taking a link and just sending it anywhere and everywhere. Fantastical will wait until each person has picked the date or dates they can do. And then if they all say Wednesday the 16th at 7 p.m, Fantastical just does it. Picks that as the date, presumably drops the rest. There are also options here, by the way, for when you get told as people have finally voted. Nicely though, Fantastical doesn't force you to go through your own list of meeting options and tick what dates you can do the way Doodle does. Fantastical rather assumes that you wouldn't be setting a possible date if you couldn't make it. I mean, there must be exceptions to that, but it seems normal. So only your invitees get sent these details. And before I show you what they see though, take a look at my calendar. There are the 3 possible dates I've picked, and there's a little icon next to each one. It has to be done this way. You have to have all of the meeting dates going to your calendar, because otherwise you could so easily double book yourself while you're waiting for the votes to come back. As it happens, I prefer though to write these provisional dates with a Spanish question mark. You're just looking at me now. I mean, I find writing that, right, that, it just makes the name jump out at me more. But you do have this little icon, and if you double click on a proposed meeting, you get details headed with the word proposed. So it's clear enough. It's just different to how I normally do it. I'm sure I'll cope, won't I? You can also click on invitees here, and this isn't wonderful. The detail that not everyone replied yet, that's great. And when they do, this is when you'll see what they've all picked. So you can choose the one that has the most votes. That's excellent. But I look at this, I see the screen, and I assume that means that invitee has chosen Wednesday the 16th. And I know he hasn't, because that's me. That's a test address I used so that I could show you this without confusing any real people with a calendar invitation to a natter that doesn't exist. I don't understand why it's done quite this way, but this has really nothing to do with that invitee. It's clear when you see a few of them. This is my view as the creator of the event, and the highlighted day there is just highlighted. I can click that or any of the other dates, and when I have decided which date the meeting is going to be, I'm picking the date, and it's okay. It needs a "so there" button. But anyway, that is all that I see as creating an event. Here's what each of my invitees sees. They get an email. Whether they use Fantastical themselves or not, they get this email, they get a link, they get a much cleaner, simpler view of the dates than in Doodle, and they can vote. I said I was concerned about letting Doodle.com, or anybody really, access my calendar and my contacts. Even though this part where my invitees vote, it is taking place online at a Fantastical website. It's not giving Fantastical any access to my details. The developer told me they've gone to actually quite a lot of trouble to make it that the decision-making process, the algorithms for determining the best rate, that they take they take place on your device and your calendar on your Mac, iPhone or iPad, not on the Fantastical server there. But whichever way it works and things, whichever way it's set up, it's private, it's quick, it's much easier than Doodle, and it's done. You have proposed an event. It's so very good. Except there's this other new option, and again, this is also available in Doodle.com, where I didn't know it existed and consequently have never used it. I'm not going to switch to Exchange to do it. There is this option to book time, to book a meeting with you or with me. When I did that mentoring that I mentioned, when I did it more regularly than I do now, anyway, I didn't actually tell anyone this, but there were certain times in the week I tended to be available. I think it was Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. They tended to be the main ones. So that's what I would offer someone. Now I can do this. Doodle calls it bookings, but Fantastical calls it openings. I start an opening by creating a template, a set of times and conditions that I may then choose to offer people. I've got a couple already set up there, but let me tick the plus sign and make a new one. Yeah, give it a name, give it a description, choose a calendar. I should say, if you don't happen to use this sort of thing, with any calendar app, you can have different calendars within it. You could have one set for work, one for home. And I do have a few of these that I've accrued over the years. I have clients that like me to use one of theirs, and I have a shared calendar with my wife so that either of us can put events into both of our calendars. Yeah, but pick one of these calendars anyway, leave it to default, whatever it is. And then look, you get a link for this opening. And you can change that name, or at least the end of it anyway. So you make the link itself readable instead of just a mess URLs. Now you pick your actual openings. And let me do that thing I said of Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. But notice as I click a new day, it duplicates whatever the last setting was. Maybe I'll change it, maybe I won't. But probably I won't, and it's handy. Next, important, approval. If this was something just between you and me, if you were picking a time that I was available, trouble is you. I know you. I could just leave this on automatic. You pick your time, I'm in. But just as easily as sending you a link to pick a time, I could send the link to anyone, everyone. I could post it on my website. And there are people who do mentoring service all the time. They do put an option on their website. So there's also the manually approve option. No one can add to it without my agreeing. Someone tries to book a meeting, I get notified by email, I go, no, not talking to them, and I can decline it. I can't actually tell them why. I can't send a message saying why I'm declining it, and that is a shortcoming in Fantastical. But actually, I'm slightly getting ahead of myself. Come back to this thing about you've done the approvals, done the availability. Look at the templates. I can click copy link next to the one we've created, and now all I have to do is paste that into message onto Twitter or anywhere. I could actually make a text expander shortcut. Maybe I use this thing a lot and it's always that one. I could be writing an email, press a couple of keys and have that link paste itself into a message. That's something you can do, and actually that just entered in my head. I think that is what I'm going to do. Yeah, actually, well, this is true. This turns out this is another case where describing it to you gives me an idea, but also describing all of this, it's far slower than you actually doing it. This is now the only way I will schedule meetings. It's the only way I will offer mentoring or other nattering slots. The real reason I haven't been using Doodle for a while, it is the coronavirus, and also because I'm no longer regional representative of the Writers Guild. I'm not setting up those meetings. But what that means is that I forgot about Doodle, and yet I do still have to arrange many meetings, chiefly over Zoom. As it happens though, this updated version of Fantastical came out on Tuesday, February the 8th, 2022, and the very last meeting in an enormous series of meetings I was doing was Tuesday the 8th as well. There'll be more, I'm sure. This is how I will do it. I need to say for completeness that there are other calendar, many other calendar apps for the Mac, the iPhone, the iPad, and the obvious one is BusyCal. That's an exceptional app, and unlike Fantastical, it is a one-time purchase instead of a subscription. There were just, for me, there were enough things I preferred in Fantastical to make it worth my trying the subscription and now sticking with it. And while BusyCal can support a kind of corporate-like checking of people's availability for meetings, it hasn't yet got the same openings and proposals so far as I can tell. Anyway, so let me tell you that Fantastical is available from the App Store, both the Mac and the iOS App Stores, and you can get it directly through the developer FlexiBits. A FlexiBits premium subscription gets you Fantastical on all of its devices, plus CardUp, and all of these features, including the new scheduling ones. FlexiBits Premium, it costs $40 a year, or you can pay $5 a month. That's it for this edition of 50 a Case. When shall we two meet again? Hit the subscribe button and the notification thing, and that'll sort things out. In the meantime, take care of yourself, Write more, and I'll see you soon.